In a small village in northern Nigeria named Guyuk, a boy called Danjuma was born. Danjuma's parents, Baba Idris and Mama Idris, already had 6 children and life was very hard. They lived in a small mud house and Baba Idris barely earned enough from farming to feed the family. When Mama Idris found out she was pregnant again, she cried. "How will we care for another child?" she asked Baba Idris. When Danjuma was born, his parents didn't celebrate like they did when they had other children. His siblings called him Masala, which means problem in Hausa. Danjuma grew up hearing words like, "You are a mistake, you are just another mouth to feed." By the time Danjuma was 6, his family had completely ignored him. His siblings wouldn't share their food. His parents didn't bother sending him to school. One day, Danjuma overheard Baba Idris saying, "Life is not easy. 6 children is already enough, and this problem called Danjuma still came and added to the problem. If only we didn't have Danjuma, life would be easier." Heartbroken, Danjuma ran away from home. He wandered into the nearby town of Gombe, where he joined other children living on the streets. He begged for food, washed car windows, and slept under the open sky. Life was hard, but Danjuma refused to give up. Every afternoon, he would stand beside a school and watch as school children close and go home. He would say to himself, "I wish one day I would be like one of these children, putting on a uniform and go to school to learn." One afternoon, while Danjuma was begging outside a small restaurant, a kind-looking woman with brown hair and glasses stopped to talk to him. "What is your name, young man?" she asked in Hausa. "Danjuma," he replied, surprised that the woman could speak his language. The woman's name was Mrs. Sarah White and was visiting Nigeria with her husband, Mr. John White, who was a doctor. They were volunteering at a local clinic and had been constant visitors in the town, so they could speak a bit of Hausa. Danjuma's thin frame and sad eyes tugged at their hearts. After talking to him, they discovered he had no one who cared for him. "We can't leave him here," Mr. John said. After getting permission from the local authorities, the couple decided to adopt Danjuma. They took him to America, where his life changed forever. In America, Danjuma lived in a big house with his new parents. For the first time, he had his own bed, clean clothes, and enough food to eat. He also started school, though it wasn't easy at first. He struggled to speak English and often felt like he didn't belong. Mr. and Mrs. White took it upon themselves to lecture him at home every day. After a while, he could speak and understand English very well. Danjuma was so determined. "I will make something out of my life," he told himself. He worked hard, studying late into the night. His new parents encouraged him every step of the way. By the time he graduated high school, Danjuma was the top student in his class. Danjuma decided to become a medical doctor like his father, Mr. John. "I want to help people like me," he explained. He went to a medical school and worked tirelessly. Years later, he became a successful doctor known for his kindness and skill. But no matter how far he went in life, Danjuma never forgot where he came from. One day, Danjuma told his parents, "I want to visit my village in Nigeria." With the help of his adopted parents, he arrived in Nigeria. When he returned to his village, Kuyuk, he was shocked. The village hasn't changed much. People were still poor and there was no hospital for miles. Danjuma's heart ached, especially when he saw his family. Baba Idris was now old and frail, and his siblings looked worn out from years of hardship. They didn't recognize Danjuma at first, but when he introduced himself, They were all shocked. "You are the Danjuma we called a mistake," one of his brothers asked, ashamed. Danjuma forgave them. "I don't hold any grudge against you," he said, "but I came back to help." Using his savings and partnership with some friends in America, Danjuma built a free hospital in Kuyuk. He hired nurses and doctors to provide care for the villagers. People who once had to travel for hours to see a doctor could now get help nearby. In addition, Danjuma opened a foundation in his village where he encouraged young people to be like him and pursue knowledge. Danjuma's parents and siblings were overwhelmed with gratitude. They finally realized how wrong they had been to treat him poorly. Danjuma's story spread across the village and beyond. People admired how he turned his pain into purpose. When asked why he helped the family that had once neglected him, Danjuma simply said, "Sometimes the people who hurt you the most are the ones who need your kindness the most." From that day on, the people of Goyuk called Danjuma a hero, not because he was rich or famous, but because he showed them the power of forgiveness and love. Thank you for watching.